Good morning everyone, this is Kosala, also known as Marventus, bringing you another one of my games from the Bronze League. This Marv's point of view is on a highly exciting subject because there have been a number of interesting changes, but before we get started, let's get to the players. In the top here, right here in the top middle, we have the Red Terran, Mr. Lloyd. Mr. Lloyd. In the top right, we've got myself, Marventus, as the Blue Zerg. And the Red Terran here, Mr. Lloyd, as I said. Let's get a production tab up. I hit Control P, of course that pauses the game. That is not the right it's D, there it is, D it is. And then let's get some nameplates up. There we have it. Now why is this game exciting, you say? Here's what it is. I have completely and utterly changed my build order. The reason I've done this is because I've been watching a lot of games by an up-and-coming Zerg player on the circuit called Spanishiwa. You've probably heard of him. Mr. Spanishiwa has got this exciting build that includes getting no gas whatsoever until you've saturated 2 bases. And I thought, what the hell, this sounds completely crazy, but I will give it a go anyway. Now I'm going to do several and this is a completely winning build order, by the way. I've been kicking ass ever since I started doing it. This is the first game I did it, and in this game I actually did it badly. Now I'm going to show a few games showing the Spanishiwa opening where I'm playing in this manner, and bizarrely this first game is very interesting because I actually got it wrong. I did it badly, and I still won because of the monumental economic advantage. Now you take a look, I am now at 15 supply. I'm about to put down my pool. There it is. It's a 14 pool, 14 hatch run. I've done my first round of scouting inside his base. I know what he's doing, and he's doing a standard sort of Terran opening. And what he'll be doing is preparing for a drop that comes over here. Now because this is a strategy game, a strategy video, I'm going to bit of a spoiler here as to what comes next. And I was completely unprepared for this because of the fact that I actually hadn't built enough units in my trialing of the Spanishiwa opening. And if you guys are interested in seeing the Spanishiwa opening done by Spanishiwa, there's a guy on YouTube called Starcraft who's done a huge amount of Spanishiwa videos. In fact, he's got an entire playlist of some 19-20 games at this point dedicated to Spanishiwa. Definitely go check it out, Starcraft. Now here it is, my spawning pool is about to be done. I have laid down my second hatchery. Now it's a 14 pool run, but pay close attention, no gas. No gas whatsoever. So I've got I'm at 18 supply now, so far no gas. Now in my previous opening I would have had at least 1 gas up and running by now before the second one landed, and I may have tossed out a couple of units, yada yada. But so far, 2 barracks in the front for our Terran player. He's walled off nicely. He has no plans of coming down here. He's now gearing up for an aerial assault or an aerial drop. Now the only thing I did wrong here was by the time I'd saturated the second base, I should have plopped out a few units, and I didn't do that. Alright, so my queen is out. My first lava is injected, and now I am waiting for that to pop to start saturating up. Now look at the mining here. I'm almost fully saturated here on my first base. The second base is just about to pop. The Spanishiwa opening is based on some spine crawler and few ling defense and many queen defense. Few lings and many queens and a couple of spine crawlers in the early stages to avoid any early harassment by getting the hell kicked out of you. And now I have an overlord heading over here to see what's what. I am fully expecting the aerial assault because this is the map for it, surely. And he's not doing a bad job of saturating his mineral line either, and he's busily building away. So far no units have come out, or the first few marines are just now coming out, and I'm about to spy that using my overlord that's coming in here. Scouting is absolutely essential in the Spanishiwa model of playing because, well, in any model of playing, but particularly in this one, because as you can see there are no units, and you don't actually start building units until you see what's coming at you. So the essential component of this particular model is heavy on the economy. Make sure you've got full economy and are widely set up for supply, and then you just pummel out the units as and when needed, relying on all the strengths of the Zerg, basically. Right, you're playing to all of your strengths. It's a great concept and has worked fantastically for me throughout. Now keep in mind, I'm now at 32 supply and I'm just now getting my first gas. Now between 30 and 40 supply you want to get your gases, and you want to get all 4 of them at the same time. That's how you make up for the fact that you haven't gotten gas early on. So you've got to get all 4 gases at the same time, and generally I do it between 30 and 40 supply. So now I'm at 34 supply, I'm getting my gases, I'm saturating all of them, and I'm going to fully saturate both of these 2 bases. I've got an overlord keeping an eye out of what's going on over here, and he should be getting, yes, Starport is out and ready now. He's moving his barracks for a little bit. Oh yes, he's creating an add-on there. He's got a reactor on there, and he's got a tech lab on there. So he's about to do a drop in a second. More drones coming in. Now you see I haven't built a single unit at this point. I don't have a single Zergling. All I have is 1 spine crawler. I've got a huge amount of drones. I was at 35 supply before I got my first gases, and I am now fully saturated, almost fully saturated in both bases. And look at the mineral gathering. It's just massive. It's ticking away. Oh, I've forgotten to saturate that particular gas even. I'm getting a few queens out, because getting a few queens out is essential in this model. You need to get that creep spread nice and huge, and you also want to make sure you've got some nice units out there to deal with any early attacking that comes your way. Now any second now we should be seeing, usually the first attack will come roughly around the 9-minute mark, the first push. So we've got the medevac out now. A few marines are out there. The first tank is out there. He's getting ready for that first push now. Let's see when it actually comes our way. So still, once again, no units. I'm just getting my metabolic boost. I may have gotten a few lings out at this point. No, I should have gotten a few units out right about now. When you hit the 8-minute mark, you want to toss out a few units just to be sure you've got some defense in case some tragedy happens. But I actually did not do that in this particular version. This is my first time doing the Spanishiwa opening. It was a little weak on the playstyle. Here comes the medevac drop. Now look at this. Had this been any other game, and I was sitting with this few units and this base taking up the lair as we speak, I would have been completely totaled because of this drop. So I actually saw it coming because I have the overload there, so I could see that the drop was on my way, so I'd scouted it correctly, so that's 1 check mark. I was on top of the scouting. I had my scouts everywhere. I could see things coming at me. I don't know what the hell he's sitting there waiting for, but nonetheless he is. Now I know it's headed my way. I've got my lair up. Now my second base is up and fully saturated as well, as you can see. Here comes the drop. We've got a few marines landing. We've got a tank landing as well. No we don't. We just got marines landing. That queen went down in no time at all. And now I detect the problem. Now under normal circumstances this would have been game over, because I've got absolutely no units. Nice transfusion landing there in the last second to save that queen. He's going around and he's trying to make a meal out of this, and I'm thinking, what should I do? Because I've already got my second base. I'm plopping up a second spine crawler. I change my mind. I grab all of my drones and I decide, well, I'm going to run them back to this base over here. And then I thought, well, hang on, wait a minute. Let's not do that. Because if I charge the Marines, he might think that this is the only base I've got. Look at my mineral gathering. I've got massive amounts of minerals and massive amounts of gas. I'm actually in no trouble whatsoever, but I'm definitely going to lose that base. Had this been any other normally set up game, I would have been done for at this point. Instead, I grab my drones and I go straight for this marine pool, and my idea is to keep them occupied here as much as possible while I rebuild then over here, because I've already got 3 queens there. I've got a fully saturated base. I'm 3,000 minerals ahead, 1,000 gas ahead. I'm not in any kind of serious trouble really, but I definitely will lose this base. So I decided to opt for that approach. I went in with the drones. I kept the marines busy, and in the meantime I will be getting up some buildings over here instead. So I'm now falling back to my second base point because my mineral resource gathering was so huge. Now look at this massive pool I've gathered here. Despite the primary base now about to go down, the loss of the lair is certainly unfortunate, but considering the massive forward advantage I have with minerals and with resources, I really am not in any kind of serious problem. And it's going to take him quite a lot of time to mop up this base. So while he's busy doing that, I think I've got some links popping here as well, who are going to keep the marines occupied a little bit. There we have it. So his push was actually successful. My defense actually failed, and I did lose this base. However, in the process of doing so, he's got a few more marines popping up here. I rebuilt completely at this base in no time at all. In the space of 2 minutes, I've got my defenses up. My mineral gathering and gas is still strong. I've got my buildings starting to pop up once again. And there we have it. Although what that queen is doing, I have absolutely no idea. He just gets completely totaled by... oh yeah, he's on his way to my secondary base, which I plopped up here at the gold. And now I've got my lings there to keep them occupied while the spine crawlers pop up. And I have survived. Now the only reason I survived this is because of the massive resource advantage I had. Otherwise this would have been completely over. There's still a couple of marines surviving here because of the damn medivacs, but they'll get mopped up eventually. But the original opening I did that gave me the mineral advantage totally had me covered on this particular thing. So when I had to rebuild here, I could do everything very, very quickly. I'm still 3,000 minerals up. The second base is now coming down over here. I'm getting my Baneling's Nest up again as well, because this is a marine heavy push that's coming my way. But in general, things are peachy. And you'll notice I don't have a single unit out really, because they've all been occupied over here standing guard. So I've got my wall set up. This bit already blocked off by the rocks anyway, and miraculously I am fine actually. Right, especially because he hasn't actually expanded into his second base yet either. He does not have a significant enough advantage to be a problem. And I'm getting my gold set up now as well. So there we have it. The strength of the Spanishiwa opening. It even works when it fails. Now I've got a massive drone count heading over here to the gold. I grabbed everyone over here and just spun them off to the gold, just on the off chance that I would get attacked here and lose this in a big way. That was a risky maneuver, but because I had the whole scouting line sorted and I saw that there was nothing in my way, I just went for it. And even if he were to come over here, he would be confused, I would imagine, at seeing no mining going on whatsoever. I stuck some anti-air defense as well in there. Now still haven't figured out exactly what buildings I'm going to go with. I'm getting my upgrades soon enough, because I have the mineral and gas count to do it. I've got my lings out now. Things are looking reasonably peachy. I've got a bit of a marine marauder push heading my way, but I do have my defenses up now as well, and he's still mopping up that damn base. He still hasn't taken out the whole base. So there we have it. It bought me the time that I needed. My lings are off to do a little bit of scouting, because I wasn't sure what was building here in the corners, right, even though I could see that he hadn't had an expansion yet. And my gold is now fully saturated and rocking and rolling. So there we have it. Incredibly good ability to react to situations when you have this kind of mineral advantage heading your way. I've got my lings hanging out here in the darkness, waiting for these guys to be softened up a little, and there they go. My second batch of lings coming in from his base area. And these are unupgraded lings. Aside from the speed upgrade, they actually haven't got the attack upgrade yet. But again, that's been mopped up. Now we have a medevac hanging out there, 2 medevacs actually, chilling out. At this point I'm sure the Terran is pretty damn confused, because that was a really strong push that came in at the 9-minute mark. I had no units. I had basically just a few queens and the odd ling batch and a couple of spine crawlers, and lo and behold, I am perfectly alive. Not just perfectly alive, I'm keeping up with his mineral and gas count. That's absolutely mind-boggling. And I was more amazed about this than anybody else, because I was fully expecting to be dead. I came very close to GGing here actually. Right, but then changed my mind and just kept on going, and voila, I have completely recovered. In fact, I'm a base ahead now as well, and about to catch up on his mineral count due to the gold saturation. Getting my gases here as well so that I don't run out. And now the fun begins really. Heading towards the kill point. So I've come out of this without really missing a beat. And this is all thanks to the great wonder of the Spanishiwa opening that is so economic heavy that you can rebuild in a really big hurry, even when things go wrong. Now once again, I'm not saying anybody should do this particular build order, because as you can see I actually didn't get units up in time. I didn't do a good job of keeping my base alive. And you don't need to sacrifice bases in this opening. It just happened to be the way I wound up doing it here because of my initial lack of awareness of this particular opening. Right, but I got much better in games that came after that, and I'll show you. Doing a little bit of scouting here, sniping a couple of the tanks. Or just one of the tanks. I didn't manage to snipe the second one. But one tank on, and I do these little guerrilla runs every now and then now to keep him on his toes. And in his base, while I'm busily building up my army and my resources, or my bases once again. So taking up to a lair here again, because as you remember I lost my first lair, so I need to get a second one up now. Now look how fast this happens. Now he is completely contained. From his rather strong push early on, he is now suddenly completely contained. Right, and he has no way to get out of this situation without me knowing about it. I have my overlord hanging out over here. I don't know why he's allowed that to happen, and I have a massive amount of lings streaming in constantly. Right, so this is really rather cool. because my economy is solid, my lava count is solid. Oh, and here comes a few units heading my way. No, they changed their minds. I'm taking down the backdoor rocks over here, and that is quite a sizable force once again, which I now spy for the first time because he comes and attacks me from the other side of the rocks. So it's time to get some banelings up and running. Let's see if I actually have time to get some banelings out before I get hit by this particular army. And there we are, morphing to banelings. Move my lings out of the way in order to let them have some time to get us around. And here it comes! The marine force is on the way. Managed to get my banelings out of the way in time. I just need them to come closer. There it is. Banelings going in. Took out a nice batch. Lings are mopping up the rest. Now all we have left is a handful of marines and a bunch of marauders. And I'm immediately popping out 44 lings, just like that. Instantaneous ling management. Because lava, because economy, because I was making sure I was staying ahead. You need to make sure you have an overzealous amount of overlords, just in case some crazy shit happens and you need to pop out 44 lings. Now while I'm doing that, I'm also getting a spire. Now obviously this lot, completely no match whatsoever for 44 lings, as you can clearly see. Meeting up with their brethren over here, coming in to charge. Ooh, I actually missed those guys completely. And there they are coming now. Those marauders are doing a rather hefty amount of damage, because are they upgraded? Let's see. No, they're not upgraded. They're just being the badass marauders that they are. But nonetheless, you can't do a whole lot against 44 lings, and there we lost about half the lings there, but took out the entire army in the process. And now they're going charging in directly after. Vikings now starting to come out for our Terran player, so he is actually transitioning correctly. I'm getting upgrades like crazy. Another nice thing about getting this opening is that you have so much economy, you just wind up getting a huge amount of upgrades. And here we have our counterattack going down. And that line of economy completely being decimated. Those SCVs look like they're totally toast. Yes, they are. The Vikings are not landing. In fact, they're heading to my base. But because I've just gotten my spire about to get up now, just see how fast I plump out the Mutalisk here. And it's wonderful. I'm on 5k minerals, 3k gas, on 2 bases. And I've got spiffy amounts of lava happening all the time. You do need to keep up with your lava management, and I will have a video in the future about how to do those little tactics that keep you in the game in the Bronze League. Oop, my overlord being sniped. This is why you need to have a large amount of overlords. See, I suddenly went into supply block there, but I have 18 Mutalisks coming out at the same time, and this is just, I mean, I didn't start building them until I saw the Vikings. And this is why it's nice to have the Spanishiwa opening. You're just so massively ahead when it comes to economy that you can just pummel this stuff up as and when. And here come the Mutalisks, just in time to wreak some havoc. When the Vikings saw them and backed off a little bit, which is probably a good thing. I have a Mutalisk meeting in the middle here. I've got upgrades coming up for them directly. I've got 15 more banelings spawning. I assume that's over here. Yes, it is indeed. And here we have it. All I need to do is go meet those Vikings, but instead I'm heading off in some other direction. Off to harass some tanks, I imagine. Yes, indeed. And those Vikings are doing a bit of a patrolling thing, but not actually doing anything at this point. Now, once again, I'm in total control of this game. At one point, it looked like it was all over. Instead, there we have it. Now I have my Vikings coming in to harass the gold. And more overlord sniping going on over there. That Viking going down to Queens. In the meantime, my Mutalisks are coming in and wrecking havoc over here. Freaks the dude out a little bit, but he lands and takes out the gold anyway. Which at this point is relatively moot, because the only thing I'm sort of missing out on really is gas. I did a bad job of defending here once again. I could quite easily have pulled those mutas down, killed off those guys, and then gone back. There was plenty of time to do that. But instead I kept my mutas where they were and just nuked down whatever was left of the army. Because actually at this point losing this base didn't mean anything. These mutas are enough to mop up the entire base along with all the units, and there's really not a whole lot of anything he can do. So from this point onwards it's basically just GG. Now once again, this was a failed Spanishiwa opening. A failed opening. I actually got the thing wrong. I didn't get units out in time, and still I managed to wind up winning this game. Even though the Terran player did not really make any serious mistakes in that initial push. The drop was correct, there was the right combination of units, it came at the right time. He did succeed in taking out his main target, which was the main base lair that I had set up. He did everything correctly, and he followed on with the correct push after that as well. It only went south after that. He was behind in economy due to not having built his second base at the same time as the push, only mistake the guy did at that time, because he was expecting to push and win, which indeed he would have done had I not had the opening or the economic advantage I had in the initial stages. Now the only reason those Vikings got mopped up is because I birthed a bunch of Mutalisks in that base in order to mop up that lot while I was busy wreaking havoc over here, and he left the game at this point, and there you have it, everyone. The failed Spanishiwa opening winding up being a success anyway. Now in the next few days I will pop up the successful Spanishiwa openings and how that went as well, because there have been some epic games and I've been winning like crazy on the Bronze League with this. So if you are skeptical as a Zerg player on this, as certainly I was when I started doing it, I would say just try it and then run with it. And you will be surprised. And comment below if indeed you have used this opening and what kind of results you've had. I'm very interested in hearing all about it. More later. Have a lovely Easter weekend.